Next up is in the Republican primary, just as the Peace Precinct 2, Timothy Blair, Tom Gresham, David Hill. While they're coming up, in the Republican primary, there's also a referendum or straw poll that you can participate in. Well, they're not binding propositions.
They're propositions.
They're called propositions? Okay. It says Republican referendum. Okay. Proposition 1, Texas legislature should make it a priority to protect the integrity of our election process by enacting legislation that requires voters to provide a valid photo identification in order to cast a ballot in any and all elections conducted in the state of Texas. Proposition 2, every government body in Texas should be required to limit any annual increase in its budget and spending to the combined increase of population and inflation unless it first gets voter approval to exceed the allowed annual growth or in the case of an official emergency. Proposition 3 is cutting federal income taxes instead of stimulus money going back out. Proposition 4 is the use of the word God, prayers, and the Ten Commandments should be allowed at public gatherings and public educational institutions as well as permitted on government buildings and property. Okay. One of the last things, that this is our last race for the evening. I want to thank you all again for being here. Also, we hope to do this again in the fall, perhaps September or early October, when we'll be able to have the candidates from each of the parties square off. Should be a fun evening. Okay. Timothy Blair is up first. Tell us about yourself, sir.
How you doing this evening? My name's Tim Blair. I'm running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 2. I'm a dedicated family man. I've got 4 children, grown children, and 12 grandchildren. And I'm a businessman. I know what it is to run a business. I know the hardships of a business. And I understand the things that you have to do in business. Not all decisions are easy. Decision is a Justice of the Peace to judge a case, no matter how heartfelt it is. In some cases, it just has to be done. I've served on board U.S. Navy ships off the coast of Vietnam, and electrician's mate there. Also, I was appointed to the Zoning Board of Adjustments in the City of Lewisville for 6 years, and then ran for office and won the seat on the City Council, place 2 for City of Lewisville. Also, we had to deal with quite a few issues dealing with the city of that size. There's roughly 95,000 people in the City of Lewisville at this point in time. And so I'm used to dealing with large budgets, I'm used to dealing with staff, I'm used to dealing with issues that concern citizens and voters. And in this case, I would do the same. I would use that experience to help me guide my way to look for the people who can help me do the job, make me look good, like office staff that are very, very important. The staff makes the person. Worked on some of the new city hall that they had there, on 2 swimming pools. So an experience with working with contractors on large projects. Also, I've completed Leadership Lewisville and also completed Citizens Police Academy. Well, I tell you all this because that's where I came from. I've only been here about 3 years. And yeah, I'm new to the area, but I got here as soon as I could. And I've lived in Texas almost all my life, so I'm not new to this area. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. Was raised in Azle, Texas, just outside of Fort Worth. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Business Management from Carolina University. I worked for Texas Instruments in the Louisville area for 15 years. I helped work on automated equipment and also helped design missile systems. I was elected to the Tri-Lakes Volunteer Fire Department as Assistant Chief just recently, and also volunteer as a volunteer firefighter. Was voted by my peers to the firefighter of the year for 2 years in a row. And so, with that, I would like to be your Justice of the Peace in Precinct 2.
Tom?
For the past 15 years, I've worked with victims of abuse with the Texas with Safety Crisis Center. First as a founding board member and volunteer, and then for the past 13 years as a legal program director. I'm not an attorney. I'm an advocate for justice. I have 23 years of law enforcement experience, all as either constable or deputy constable in Titus County. For almost 13 years, I worked as constable in Precinct 2 and worked directly with 2 different Precinct 2 JPs. I have also worked hand in hand with JPs in Precinct 1, 3, and 4. I have concerns about the rift between law enforcement and the current JP. Law enforcement on both the county and state level have complained about indiscriminate dismissal of tickets, making many feel it will do no good to issue tickets because it's simply going to be dismissed. I'm also concerned at the loss of revenue to the county due to the dismissal of these tickets. Law enforcement also complains of the inability to get warrants or search warrants in a timely manner, and especially after regular business hours. I pledge these officers I will be available at any hour they need me. The JP Precinct 2 handles most, if not all, cases stemming from violations with the Mount Pleasant school systems. Mount Pleasant ISD campus police issue tickets to juvenile offenders for violations as small as skipping school and class to serious cases, including assault and worse. I have personally observed in the current JP court teens who have been in the court 6 or more times. These kids know that if they're under 17 years of old, they cannot be, 17 years of age, they cannot be jailed. Very few of these kids are ordered to teen management or other programs available to assist them. It's time for tough love and tough consequences. I want to work with the Mount Pleasant ISD principals and school board to have these teens who are always in trouble doing manual labor at the schools where they are getting in trouble. They should be working off fines. They are from mopping floors to cleaning up sports areas after games. If I'm the JP, I will require that each teenager, each teen who is doing court-ordered community service will wear an orange reflective vest with the words community service visible on the back. I want these teens not to ever want to get in trouble again at school. I believe it's time for Titus County to look not only into a juvenile detention center, but also a boot camp for juvenile offenders. There are only a limited and costly number of places that juvenile offenders can legally be held, and none are in Titus County. We, for some time, at the Titus County Jail have housed both state and federal prisoners at a profit to Titus County. There's no reason we cannot operate a juvenile detention center, and absolutely no reason we cannot. Okay, I'm almost there. I'm going to be like Thomas Hockaday. I'm almost there. There's absolutely no reason that we can't have other counties paying us to house their kids. I feel like I'm the only candidate on both tickets who has experience needed in dealing with the public, the victims, and the abusers to properly get the job done for justice peace. Thank you.